long time ago, in a YouTube world full of keyboard warriors, many monsters and trolls lurked in the chat rooms. They thrived on arguments amongst each other until one day, a heroine rose from the ashes. She was made from the tears of beta bitches and the sweat of alpha male gym guys. Throughout the centuries, this keyboard warrior princess showed up in many forms. She slayed many demons along the way. By the light of the moon, she led the simp army into battle. Wielding her sword, she fought through the dark forests. With each new era, the monsters evolved. The keyboard warrior princess grew stronger, with new skills to bring them down. The world around her advanced, but so did she. Her heroism became known to society as technology advanced. And with each new generation, she had to learn how to blend in to keep her identity hidden. Now known as the Raging Tomato, this keyboard warrior princess fights for justice in every debate. She fights for freedom, for moderator bias, and she fights for your ability to battle on an open panel for your beliefs. She protects the simp troopers from destruction. She fights to create peace among troll wars. She storms the battle zones without hesitation and leaves the battleground with her pockets full of souls. Are you ready to battle your fellow trolls? Are you ready for a moderator to give you time to talk? Are you ready for justice, peace, and a fair fight? Tune in every Monday night to watch your friends duke out their issues, or join the open panel so that you can fight the good fight and find resolution with your peers.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back. I am Sara, the Raging Tomato, here bringing to you live yet another one. Oops, I forgot to change that background. It's got to go back to the other one, and then later on I'll switch it back to that one. There, that's less distractible, isn't it? Little lighter. We put some music on, get some little beats. Sorry, sports season ended 2 weeks ago, and it started back up again. So now I'm back into winter sports now, which means my Monday nights are being kind of impeded on a little bit. Usually I like to, unless we're hosting Andrew, usually these would start at 8:30. But with the new schedule, I'm back to the 9:15 time. So my apologies, and thank you so much for your patience, everybody. I gladly appreciate you waiting. I was rushing. I got back in the door right at 9 o'clock, and I had to rush around real fast, but I was like, I have to make a cup of coffee. So I made my giant bowl of coffee, right? That's as big as my head. So yes, cheers to all of you. God, that's so good. And no sugar in my coffee. Whoever said that, I think it was P. Fletch. Just a little bit of milk, just a little bit of clouds in there. But shout out, who's dropping in? P. Fletch says, I don't know about 4B, but I'm more for 2A myself. Yes. OPC Don stopping by early on today as well. First, nope, you're second. No loss. Nobody wanted any of those women anyway. Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. Uncle Gon's coming in with a pin with the win. Will society function if women remove their 4Bs? Would society function if men removed their 4Bs? Basic 7 needs, battles, bridges, and building. Find out on Mater Mod Monday. Love it. Mod Monday. It's a thing. It's a thing, guys. Machete dropping in, scrambling for lockpicks. I'm not sure what the lockpicks are for. Maybe that's an inside joke that I don't understand, but sure. And P. Fletch starting us off right, on the right foot. Coming in with the big 20, he says, I. How's that? Do you like that one? I don't want a lot for Christmas. He says, it's that time of year. Mariah Carey is on repeat in many stores. Check on your loved ones. They might really need to hear some Rolling Stones or Wasps to keep their sanity. Yes, very true. November 1st, walking to work, Christmas music playing, and I said, what is this shit? No, turn it off. Turn it off. I'm not ready. Mama Tomato coming into the chat. Everybody say hi, Mom. If you could all just throw a bunch of tomatoes, I'd love to see a bunch of tomatoes in chat as a shout out to my mama. Tomatoes in the house, please. Tomatoes. Tomatoes to the chat. Tomatoes. Imperious. He always wants on this panel, but he never is allowed to. He knows it. We know it. Doug the Thug Fist. Trump isn't even in office yet, and he's already solved women's abortion issues. Yes. If you think about it, yes, problem solved. He solved all of the issues that the red pill has been complaining about. Women are sleeping around too much. Women are getting abortions. Women are doing this, doing that. So inevitably, we don't really need abortion laws if they're not out doing their thing, right? I can already tell you this stream is going to the crapper with all of the words that are going to be used tonight. Big Jake's Ranch coming in. A little less promiscuity from the crazy blue-haired. Now no-haired. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's not going to be blue anymore. Chicks ain't a bad thing. They ain't wifey material anyways. Yeah, I don't know if anybody's really losing it out on this, right? Hello, James. Mr. James Farley. How are you this evening? How are you? Avoided Hornet. I expect to see him up here this evening as well. Michael Horsley. Don't go away, Mad. Just go away. And hello to you, Michael. Kat Kativi. I would be excited if she jumped on this panel this evening. I believe she got a fast pass as well. Logical Spark. Hi, Sparky. Well, hello to you. And good evening as well. Naomi, my little horse-loving, hat-wearing, sexy mama. Oof! If you're not in my Discord, you are missing out, okay? Naomi's in there, and she's hitting it hot. She is hitting it hot, ladies and gentlemen. Some sexy cowboy hat pictures. I was toasty today. Toasty. Jorge Rubio. I like my coffee black. Yes, I can handle it without cream or milk or anything. I just have to put a little bit of cold water in just to cool it down so I can sip it as soon as it comes out. Roman King, she's lying. That's a normal size cup. How do you know? Have you been following me? Q-Tard, my favorite name. I blew my super chat budget last time. Totally worth it though. Totally okay. I'm glad you're here. You're back for some more. We're having a good time tonight, so let's all rock out. Sean Weiland, your favorite girl, will be appearing on this screen later this evening, and that has been confirmed. Torsia will be in the house. Zents, oh my God, I can't drink coffee without at least 5-to-1 ratio of sugar. I might be a diabetic. Oh my God. Oh, yes. Naikas? Naikas? Did I say that right? I'm sorry if I said it wrong. Hello again, beautiful souls. Is this our opportunity to make chastity belts popular again? Maybe. I don't find this to be a bad thing. Dwight Baldwin coming in. Hello. No way women are holding out 4 years, right? Now, here's a thought process I had the other day. I want to know which companies sell the toys, because that's the stock I want to invest in. Like now, right now. Like it's got to be some kind of electronics companies, right? It's got to be. Oh boy. All right, where else are we going? Oh, there's all the tomatoes. Hi, Chaos Queen. I can always rely on you for tomatoes. And Naikas. The rest of you didn't send tomatoes. You suck. I'm absolutely disturbed. All you had to do is hit the emoji. That's all you had to do. Hi, Dave. Welcome back, my friend. All right. Did I make everybody? Here we go. Locksmith Jeremy. Hello. I'm locking up my third leg. Oh, boy. And Lawyer Chick, if you didn't see her first appearance on our show this Saturday night, it's worthy of a checking out. Saturday night, it will get put back behind the membership paywall this coming Saturday. I let them sit out there for a week, and then it goes behind the paywall. So if you want to check it out, now's your time. Emma Rain, hello to you. And I think I got everybody. Oh, Romano, hello to you too, my friend. All right. See, Jorge's got me here. Thank you, Jorge. All right. And Beetle Babe, you're going to want Omicron Group. Oh, they're a brand that owns ad. Oh, there we go. Yes, I believe it. I believe it. Golden Unicorn, you're new here too. Where'd you come from? How'd you find us? Thank you for the tomatoes. Send out this big shout out to Mama Tomato in the chat. We love her very much. So the more tomatoes you send, the more Mama Tomato feels loved. Oh, look at them. Look at them coming in. Oh, here they come. Tomatoes. All right, let's get this party started. I do have a short video. We're going to speed through this evening that I would be happy to get through and kind of apply my thought process here. I'm trying to be sympathetic. I'm trying to see it from the other end, right? I'm trying to see why this seems like a smart idea in terms of what you call it, in terms of the women's movement. I really want to understand it. I'm trying to grasp it, but I'm not coming up with any reasons to defend the stance. So we're going to leave it to you guys, and the panel's welcome to come on. If there's anybody who specifically is for the 4B movement or has a strong feminist take on it, or like you're completely sold on it and you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, or you can sympathize with it, something to that degree, please feel free to message me directly, like right now, either on Insta, Twitter, or something. Message me there because I want to get you up first. So if you have a strong positive viewpoint, I need to hear from you like now. All of the links to where you can message me are in the description, or they're also in my About Me on the channel. So let's get to this, ladies and gentlemen. All right, add to stage. Let's do this. All right, interesting concept. Let me turn my music down so it doesn't like overpower everything. Well, not too far down. All right, here we go. Let's see. Oh, I need to, hold on. I need to make some adjustments here. We want to speed this one up a little bit and turn the quality down so that it doesn't kill my internet wavelengths.
We're probably going to stay dry. I'm dry as a desert, baby, and I don't want it to change.
I'm Emily Carver, and today we're diving into an utterly bizarre phenomenon that's causing quite a stir across the pond following Donald Trump's recent election victory. By now, you'll know that many liberal American women are absolutely devastated by Trump's presidential win, panicking over losing their rights. They are afraid, and they blame Trump and the men who voted for him. So now they're taking their revenge, and it's a movement that's rapidly gaining traction. It goes by the...
They're blaming... This is all Trump's fault, apparently, right? So that's what they're saying. Like, this is all like super sparked just because Trump won the election. I've never known an election, or maybe it's out there. I'm not aware of it, but I've never known an election to spark such a huge movement for women to be mad to this degree. I don't know. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I'm happy to take the L on that, but it just seems kind of silly. Like, oh, somebody got elected. Now I'm not going to enjoy relationships with men. Who, I don't know who's being harmed in this one more.
Intriguing name, 4B. Now you might be wondering what on earth 4B stands for. Well, buckle up, because we're about to embark on a journey from South Korea to the United States, exploring a radical feminist movement that's found new life in the wake of Trump's return to the White House. The origins of 4B. While some of these women may see their trend as something new, the 4B movement isn't actually an American invention at all. It originated in South Korea about 6 years ago as a response to what many South Korean women perceived as a deeply entrenched patriarchal and misogynistic culture. Now, the 4B in the movement's name refers to 4 self-imposed restrictions, each beginning with the...
So I did look into this. Where this began actually in South Korea started with a concept of, there was a stabbing, right? So some guy waited outside of a bath, like a lady's bathroom, or inside, one or the other. And the lady unknowingly basically walked into her own death trap, and he stabbed her to death. And what he had said was, I just got tired of women ignoring me all of the time. So what happened in South Korea was they basically kind of in protest to this misogynistic concept of something, said, you know what, fine, we're just going to ignore the men completely because now our women are being stabbed because, oh, we ignored you. So sorry. So they started the 4B movement. B is a character, like a alphabetical type of thing that means like, I believe it was not to or to whatever. It just means no, like no more of something. So that it's like no marriage, no dating, no babies, and no sex, or no romance, sex to that degree. So that kicked off, and it took a couple years for it to really get to the bigger portion of it, where it grew. So 2016 was when the stabbing started and the movement began, but 2018 was when it actually really took off, and then it turned into bigger things over there. So that's the crux of this. So I kind of feel like in some degree, American women utilizing that movement kind of seems like you're using it in the wrong way. Like somebody died, right? And they were standing up for something that had happened. And here somebody was elected and you're just throwing a temper tantrum. Seems kind of silly. It's almost insulting. I think I did invite Fairy Queen, and she seemed to be more knowledgeable on the South Korea portion. So if she does come on, I'd love to have her elaborate a little bit more, or if anybody else does come on tonight who knows more about it. But yeah, that's my understanding.
The letter B in Korean. Number 1, no dating men. Number 2, no sexual relationships with men. 3, no marriage to men. 4, no childbirth. Now, these 4 Bs represent a radical rejection of all of the traditional societal expectations placed on women in South Korea. The movement emerged as a response to a range of issues, including the gender pay gap, workplace discrimination, and a culture of objectification and unrealistic beauty standards for women. It's important to note, too, that the 4B movement in South Korea isn't just about personal choices. It's a form of political protest against a system that many women feel is fundamentally unfair. By rejecting traditional roles and expectations, women are trying to make a powerful statement about their place in society and also their right to self-determination. Trump's victory and the American 4B resurgence. Right, it's time to shift our focus to how this movement has suddenly gained traction in the United States of America. Since that re-election of Donald Trump, some women, mostly online, are now threatening to punish men for voting for Trump. This despite 46% of women voting.
I want to know why. Why would we feel the need to punish men? Like, not every man voted for this direction, and not every man is in agreement with the election or with all of the talking points. You know, I feel like, and I believe I heard Grid say this too the other day. People voted for economy, not societal, like the gender wars going on and all of those things, or societal issues like abortion, so on and so forth. We voted for the economy. So I think that in this aspect, like these women are mad at the wrong thing. Because that's not, I don't foresee that as why people voted Trump. I think most people were voting because we're tired of paying $3, $4, $5, $6 a gallon of gas. We're tired of getting 2 bags of groceries and paying $200. You know, and I'm not saying that that's the crux of everything, but what I'm saying is I like what Grid was saying about it. Grid One. I like what he was saying about it the other day when I caught his show, that he feels like we voted for the economy. And I kind of can actually say that sounds about right, because that would have been where my heart stood if I didn't already feel that way, you know, so.
For Trump as well. They're taking inspiration from this Korean feminist movement and vowing to withhold sex from men in order to punish them. Now, we've got some TikTok clips that really capture the mood of this trend. Let's watch the first one.
All I have to say is good luck getting laid. Especially in Florida, because me and my girlies are participating in the 4B movement. That's my next plan.
Isn't Florida a red state? Didn't they go red? I'm pretty sure they went red. So I don't know if that's a smart move, honey bun. I don't know if that's a smart
And
move.
I'm dead fucking serious.
Me and my girlies are participating in the 4B movement. She always makes it sound fun, but actually they're just withholding sex from men, which presumably they might find enjoyable from time to time. Let's take a look at another clip.
I want the men in this country to know that half the female population, we're dry. We're probably going to stay dry. I'm dry as a desert, baby. And I don't want it to change. Yeah.
That sounds like a personal problem. Oh boy. Oh, I can't. Stop it. Make it stop.
We're not going to like you anymore. You understand that? Like, it doesn't matter if you take away abortion. Like, we'll want to have your babies even less, right? Even if you take away contraception, like, women are really good at celibacy because you guys are actually a threat to us. So we have a lot less to gain from you. So yeah, 4B all the way.
If women are so good at celibacy, oh, I think that's hold on. I think that's an ad. Let me let that run through. If women are so good at celibacy, then like what seems to be the problem? Like, I don't know. Oh, let me put that back up there. Here we go. I should have just hit the remove button for a second. Sorry.
Be all the way. Women are really good at celibacy. Okay, right. Okay, totally unnatural, one might say, but there you go. It's her prerogative. Now, this final clip addresses some of the criticisms of the 4B movement. The creator argues that it's not actually about hating men. It's about protesting the political system that they believe does not adequately protect their rights.
It is 100% about hating men. Don't tell me it's not. Like, that's all I'm hearing. We're mad at men, therefore you can't get the poo-tang. Like, that's all I'm hearing, literally.
I also have decided that for the next 4 years, I am going to abstain from schmex with men. Yeah, as a woman, my bodily autonomy matters, and this is my way to exercise sovereignty over that. So I highly encourage any other women that are single and care about progressing women's rights and still fighting for our bodily autonomy to do the same. Delete your dating apps. I think we can look to South Korea and the 4B movement as a point of inspiration.
She doesn't look too happy about it, does she, though? She looks very distraught indeed. I mean, I do wonder whether she could just find a Democrat voting man, but perhaps that's impossible now.
So that was kind of my question, too, is I could understand if you're choosing not to date Republicans or anybody that voted for Trump, but like, doesn't that mean there's still men out there that did vote blue? You know, are you mad at them too? Is that what's going on? And if that, then that tells me you are mad at men. If you're saying no poo-tang out there altogether, that says you're mad at men. If you're holding it against all of them, it just doesn't make any sense.
Now, because all men voted Trump, except they didn't. The rationale behind the movement. Clearly, for many of these women, the 4B movement is centered around the right to an abortion and also concerns legitimate about reproductive rights. So, to protest, they're using their bodies as a form of political statement. So, they believe that by choosing to abstain from relationships with men altogether, they can fight back against Trump and his male supporters. But it's not just about reproductive rights. Many supporters of the 4B movement in America cite a range of issues. Similarly to South Korea, they include concerns about the gender pay gap, workplace discrimination, frustration with traditional gender roles and expectations, fears about the erosion of LGBTQ plus rights, and worries about what they perceive as misogynistic rhetoric in politics. Now, it is worth noting that while the 4B movement in South Korea was primarily focused on societal, cultural issues, its American incarnation seems to be more directly tied to political concerns, and those political concerns are Trump and the evil people, men, who voted for him. Reactions and responses. Now, as you might expect, the movement has elicited quite a range of responses and reactions.
And if anybody that does have a link, the Fast Pass link, if they do want to go ahead and get backstage, I'll open up here in about 5 minutes. So feel free to go ahead and hop back there, and we can kick off from there. This is just kind of interesting to me. I can understand using your body as a way to get back, but I also can't understand using your body as a way to get back either. You know, that's like, it's like I give you the poison, like I'm going to drink the poison and hope that you are affected by it. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And not only that, I don't think anybody's, listen, I'm opening up Tinder. the market is now fully open and available now that half the population of women have just dropped off of there and don't want anything to do with them. So I'm going to take advantage of this situation. But to me, it's quite strange how this is like really getting us anywhere. I don't get it. And then quick shout out to Imperious with his $2. You are now officially $96 away from being allowed on panel. But he says, screw 4B. Can we send women to Mars? Elon, anyone? Maybe. I thought women were from Venus, though. And David Donnelly coming in with a big 5. He says, if you're a woman that enjoys sex, isn't this a bit like keying your own car because one of the brake lights doesn't work? God, I love you, David. Oh, I love you. Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And this side of the women are the women who do enjoy the ability for casual sex or the like hookup culture because they have their birth control, they have abortion available, they have morning after pills, all of these different things. I dropped it. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. So because of that, it's like, well, nobody else is really like you're only delimiting yourself in this whole aspect. Like these guys are going to find it elsewhere, or if they aren't already getting it, if they're not getting it anyways, then it's like, oh, okay, well, no loss. And these women are also vowing silence and not wanting to talk to women either, or not wanting to talk to men either. And to me, I feel like for all men, they're going to be like, oh, thank you. She's going to shut up. She's not going to talk to me. Blessed be. Right? Isn't that all what all men want from us, is for us to just be quiet and make a sandwich? Naomi coming in with a big 5. She says, some women just need astroglide. Oh, this is going to be a raunchy night. I can feel it. Thank you, Naomi. All right, let's finish this out. Oh, no,
as some have mocked what they're calling an ultra-feminist movement. They argue it's a complete overreaction to Trump's victory and that it won't have any real impact on policy or social change. Others have pointed out what they see as some inconsistencies in the logic behind the movement. Critics argue that by refusing to engage with men entirely, these women are actually cutting themselves off from potential allies and limiting their ability to effect change anyway. Some point out that by using their bodies as a form of protest, they're actually playing into sexist tropes, that it's only men who enjoy sex and that women's only weapon is their sex. Also, presumably, they'll be missing out on what many find to be an enjoyable part of life. And as I said before, they don't seem all that happy about.
That was a good point, actually. What she said is you're actually just feeding into the sexist portion even more so. And by way, like you're presuming that it's only men that enjoy sex, and you're saying that women don't enjoy it. Therefore, like now you're, I don't know, harming the men. And I don't know. It still seems very backwards. Imperious coming in with a big 2. You are now officially $94 closer. This makes sense. Women know that they are just a body. Oh, shut up, Imperious. Oh, boy. All right. Let's finish out.
About it. Supporters would argue that it's a powerful form of protest, though, that forces society to confront issues of gender inequality face on. They see it as a way of reclaiming autonomy over their bodies and lives in a political climate that they feel threatens their rights. What do you think?
Do you know the U.S. solar company's nasty little secret?
Stupid ads. I need to pay for it, don't I? I just need to do it. I always keep telling myself I'm going to do it, and then I don't. The Joe Mobley Show coming in with a big 2. Sarah, don't smile. Hey, just smile. Great show. Here we go. Let's see. Here we go. Did I hit the stupid button again? My apologies. I'm kind of feeling weird today.
Broader implications. Right, let's take a step back and consider what all this means in a broader context. Now, the 4B movement, whether it's in its original South Korean form or this new American Trump incarnation, is fundamentally about power dynamics between men and women in South Korea was a response to deeply ingrained cultural norms that many women felt were oppressive. In America, it's clearly being wielded or attempted to be wielded as some kind of political tool, a form of protest against an election result that these women simply find unacceptable. Again, even though many women voted for it. But is it effective as a tool? Will withholding intimacy and companionship actually change anyone's political views? Or is it more likely to further entrench the very divisions that these women are apparently protesting against? Or indeed, will it force the genders even further apart? Well, it's certainly succeeded in gaining these women attention, but are they only convincing their own echo chamber? Will Trump supporters suddenly reach out and say they regret their choice and that they'll always vote Democrat instead forevermore? Or is this all just really an exercise in trying to get as many clicks as possible on social media in our increasingly narcissistic online world? You might wonder whether the whole thing will alienate more people than it brings on side. For one thing, it's given a lot of people a lot of laughs. It's also worth considering the potential long-term consequences of the 4B lifestyle, certainly a personal choice. But some experts have raised concerns about the potential psychological impacts of completely cutting oneself off from romantic relationships and indeed the possibility of having children. Why would you harm yourself to punish someone else? Global perspectives. Now, the social media trend has been reported on around the world. Clips have been seen by millions of people around the world as well, and everyone's been giving their opinion on this one. It's also a story of how ideas can travel and evolve, in this case from South Korea to the United States. Of course, it's not the first time we've seen feminist movements cross borders, but the speed and scale of 4B's adoption in America is particularly striking. Looking ahead. Right, well, I think it's clear this is an issue that defies easy categorization. It's a vivid illustration of how personal choices can become political statements, how global movements can be adapted and repurposed in new contexts, and it also shows just how hard hit some of these liberal women have been by this recent election result. Whether you see it as a principled stand or perhaps a misguided overreaction, there's no denying it sparked yet another conversation about gender, politics, personal autonomy, and it may well continue for some time. What a world we live in 2024.
Ah, yes. What a world. What a world. What a world. Oh, boy. All right. Well, so far I've got Flow State and Kakatibi backstage. If anybody else has the Fast Pass link, you're welcome to jump back now before I drop it to the public. We're going to play it a little bit different tonight. But yes, I'm going to go ahead and bring you guys up. Let me put myself here. We're going to play a little antsy-pantsy here. I don't know. Oh, wait. Where's my button? There we go.
Release the Kraken!
All right. Hello, everybody. And I'm going to go ahead and drop the link down. If anybody else wants to join, I'll let two more on right now. Hold on just a second. I can't think and type at the same time. Should have had that already pre-typed. There we go. All right. Well, hello, everybody. Chuck in Tennessee coming in with the big five. He says, don't need no woman. The horse clip will suffice. All right. Well, this one, I will send this one out just for you, Chuck.
This message is sponsored in part by...
There you go. Everybody say thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck.
All right. Well, this is the panel for now until everybody else or anybody else hops on. But yeah, what do we think so far? Kat, let's start with you.
Yeah, so I was researching a little bit, just a tad. And in Korea, it was started because a woman was killed by somebody in a subway station, and he reportedly said he did it because he felt ignored by women in general. So this is more like the whole incel uprising that's supposed to happen, but kind of has been subdued, at least here for now, because OnlyFans is so popular. So people are just like, you know, the incel guys can get their
nut off.
Yes, with that. So they're not resorting to this. But I do see Korea as us in the future. So if we continue this like divide against men and women, this will become us in the future. And it is starting to get that way. also do think the Democrats use that to their advantage to kind of say, hey, you know, like the whole thing, all he did was make it states' rights, and they're like, oh, they're coming after this. And then like I know the Department of Health in Florida constantly issuing statements like, we are not getting rid of it. Nothing has happened. It is not changed. It's just the states have the rights. That's all that changed. And like they just keep saying they're coming after you. It's like the boogeyman is coming. All the evil men are coming to take your everything away. And it's just insanity. So like, also, then you have the women who believe this. They're not the type of women who are smart enough to go look things up or like call the health department and say, is this true? They don't care. They're just like very wrapped up in this. I feel like a lot of them might be on antidepressants. You don't shave your head if you're very sane. So they're probably on antidepressants. They're probably depressed, probably not being chosen. Maybe they're just being used by men and like thrown back, you know, like that kind of situation. So it's really not like a loss, because like the rest of us that like, you know, we'll be fine. So I mean, it's okay for us, but it just I feel bad for them because they're like this.
I think that's the most I've ever heard you talk in like a matter of a time frame like that. That's the most I've ever heard you talk. Kat feels strongly, ladies and gentlemen. I like it. I like it when you get excited about the content that you're delivering. Yes. Lawyer chick to you. What are your thoughts? You're muted right now, by the way.
Hey, everybody. Good to see you all. Thanks, Sarah, for sending me the link. This is fascinating to me. I tried really hard to find somebody who'd shave their head to come on, and no go, which makes me think this might be getting more attention by the media than the actual number of women who are shaving their head and doing this. That's my first thought. My second thought is that, like you said earlier, it's a really bad strategy to get Trump out of office or, you know, bring any kind of reproductive rights to women. Like Kat said, I wish that it was more clear that there's not going to be a federal ban on abortion. It's states' rights and it's going to stay that way.
Right.
It's really, really misguided, and I'm so angry that the Dems kept hammering it away this election. And so I feel for these women who like aren't quite getting that. And I also think it's like a complete co-opt of the South Korean women. Like, what's that about? That's not cool to me at all. The South Korean movement was in a very different context. The women there were standing up for very different things. And what we're dealing with in the US is not that. You know, and so it's misguided. And I guess the last thing I'll say is when I was doing research today, I watched a bunch of videos, and this one woman was saying, like, her thing is that she's not going to have sex with like lesser valued men anymore, and she's going to, right? Like, did you see that one? And she's just standing up in this, like, I'm just going to date like high value men, and like, good for you. Like, that's the idea. You should be doing that,
right?
Like, so I'm just not going to be like a hoe anymore, basically. So it's like great. I think that's good. So that's kind of my thoughts on this.
That's good. I like that. Joe Cool, to you. What do you think?
I think I should listen a bit more because these girls sound well informed, and I don't want to embarrass myself. I'll listen a little more before I contribute.
That's fair. That's fair. Flo, stay.
I'm also not having sex with men. I don't know. I think the whole thing is a psyop. It's a psyop, and I just like I think that abortion being a woman's right issue is also a psyop, because if you look at the numbers, men are more pro-choice than women are.
Really?
Yes. So I think the whole thing is a psyop. I don't even know that I think it's real people. It might just be a handful of goofballs within an agency trying to just rock the boat.
Oh, here we go. Bring on the conspiracy.
Mm-hmm.
I like it.
So that's the rabbit hole I popped up out of.
Okay.
And I'm here to represent Chuck in Tennessee.
We love Chuck. We love Chuck very much.
Ain't Chuck a veteran? Happy Veterans Day, Chuck.
He's a veteran.
Yeah.
Shit, Sarah, you're a veteran. Happy veteran.
He didn't vote for me, but he didn't vote for president either. The Electoral College did. He just, participated in the trivia poll.
Okay, so what do we think? What do we think the outcome of this will eventually be? Actually, before I ask that, Torsia, why don't you throw your thoughts out there?
Sorry, I literally was just live, so I didn't catch it. I was trying to stream it from my channel, so I didn't catch anything you guys just said.
That's
Can you
okay.
catch me up?
Just we were just starting with opening thoughts.
Oh, okay. I think we need to bring back asylums. I am Torsia.
Oh my goodness. I was actually thinking of this, and I was like, man, I feel like you'll be able to find all of the crazy ex-girlfriends. Like the girls where the guy said, like, no, legit, she's crazy. They're all gonna be shaved bald. So you'll just
You can
know it.
easily identify them.
Yeah, it's like a
They
it's
always
a new.
existed. We just had facilities for them. That's the difference.
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to ask the question of what do we think the outcome of this is going to be? And the floor's open.
Nothing. I don't think it'll matter at all. I think that most of the women who are participating in this weren't having sex anyways with men, and the ones who were will probably give in to their old slutty ways within about a week.
Think so? But now they'll just have bald heads or shaved heads.
Yeah, they might actually have trouble finding their way out of this presentation. I know I'm going to be more reluctant to have sex with a bald woman than I would with a not bald woman. Joe, what about you?
Take that back. I'm just kidding.
You know what? I can't keep up on the subject. Flo just laid me a softball there, and I passed it up. You guys be proud of me with the bald women. What I think about having sex with bald women, shit. But what this is, I'm still trying to gather what this is. Like some people are protesting. There's some specifically the abortion or some anti-Trump stuff. I still don't know what's going on enough. Comment. You guys just
Joe,
saying.
did you just jump on a panel and not know what the topic was?
Yeah, I didn't even read the topic, to be honest.
Yes, Joe, cool. I'm so so I just sat here for a whole half hour and gave this whole speech and reacted to a video about the topic, and you haven't. You just saw a link. You just saw a link.
From my buddy. Yes.
If anybody else drops in, I'm gonna remove you and put them up.
It's fair. That's right. It's fair, man. But I catch on quick.
That's
man.
not fair. That's racist.
No?
Yes.
Well, then if it's a black guy, then I'll especially report that. No harm, no foul. Lawyer chick, Kat, where do you think this is gonna end up?
I have a question. How many think that this was kind of an easy way out for women to like not feel bad about dating anymore? You know, like if I just stuck out, then it's like I chose not to date when really they were probably. Is there a female term for incel? Is that a thing?
Actually, females started the incel trend, and then men co-opted it, saying you can't be an incel. Any man would sleep with you. But the incel females were like, not the men we want to sleep with, so we won't sleep with them.
Okay, so yeah, maybe there's something there. If like it's just an easy out, like great. And then I wonder how many women are just going to start kissing women after this. What are you going to do? Or they're just going to start growing their hair back, like we all do. Everybody cuts bangs and then it's like, I'm going to let those bangs grow out. Like we've all been there. So that's probably what this is too. Trust.
Would this be like a pro LGBTQ kind of thing, like pushing that? Like if women are mad at men enough, they'll eventually maybe go gay?
Like a straight lesbian, straight edge.
Probably were always gay. They were probably always gay and just didn't know it.
Yeah, they're getting in touch with their inner. It could be. Could be.
Slow kick in, make the men look good. You know I'm slow getting there.
They're talking about lesbian things. I mean, I don't have an inside view on this stuff. I can be an outside cheerleader, but really, it's in real life lesbians. I'm less a fan of. It seems than you know what.
How many of them are lesbians, Flo? You act like they're speaking from personal experience.
Well, kind of the running joke is like if the dating pool's not coming out very well for you and you're just irritated because it's one guy and after another and they're all just annoying or this or that, you're like, oh my God, I'd rather go gay. you know, it's kind of like a running joke between women to say like, you know, so I'm kind of wondering if maybe it's like a secret ploy, you know, to do that, or as you were saying, Lawyer Chick, to kind of like skate out of feeling the need to date, or like using it as a crutch, be like, well, I'm not dating or getting married or having babies because I'm mad at Trump, right? Versus like the reality of it, you were just having a terrible dating pool anyways, or no dating pool at all.
Beetle Babe's comment down there. I think this is all part of Beetle Babe's plan to get more pussy.
Oh my God, Beetle Babe's so excited right now. She's like, yes.
Yeah, it's good for them.
What about you, Kat? Where do you think this is going? How do you think it's going to end up?
I think it is kind of like the "you can't fire me, I quit" thing. I mean, I don't think it's never the mentally stable, beautiful woman with options. It's always mentally unstable, no options.
That makes sense. Tori?
I mean, like I was saying earlier, these are just the people that would have been locked up or institutionalized. We just see them more now because of TikTok. I guess like on both sides of the spectrum, though, we do this thing often that I talk about, which is like blame and shift blame and guilt or whatever. So whenever something crazy happens, or depending on how you look at it, something that affects people on a personal level, they always try to find somebody to blame. I think they're just doing that with men and Trump, and they really just are unstable. I feel like it's that easy.
Well, okay, as a female, ladies, how do you feel like this affects you, if it does, or how do you feel with women representing women in this direction?
You know what they feel. They've been saying it all night, but go ahead.
I mean, I'm not sure if I understand the question exactly, but like Trump and like the Supreme Court with the Roe versus Wade thing was absolutely necessary to treat a lot of mental health in this country. It created a standard that was too hard to get people into treatment until they did something like committing a crime. So when I say it's like a mental health issue, I genuinely think like when we had institutions, it was around, we've been deinstitutionalizing since like the 50s with the advent of antipsychotic medication. And it went as far as, I think, I forget who, fucking Reagan. In the 70s, he got rid of all institutions overall. So we don't have them anymore. Then you have Roe versus Wade getting overturned in 1973. And you just continuously see homeless population getting bigger. You have more mentally ill in jail. I think I was just talking about this on my channel, actually. It was like 470,000 out of 700,000 should be in a hospital. That's alarming. That's a huge number.
Right.
How did they do that number?
So when I looked at it, it was like they counted up all the people that technically met the criterion for being transferred to a mental health hospital while being incarcerated. So if you meet that standard, you have to be really psychotic.
No.
Because you have to not have capacity. Yes. No, seriously. You can't have capacity.
Also, do they count like all the people on psych meds in these facilities? Because there's a lot of that.
So I was under the impression if you commit a crime and you are clearly mentally ill, like clearly mentally ill, I was under the impression that when you get put in jail, they put you on the meds. That's not really true. Like, I would say it's probably not true. But they do have doctors coming to assess them pretty regularly. But they can still deny the medication, even when they're not in the right state of mind. In this country, with like Roe versus Wade and the right to privacy, it really protected autonomy, but we really needed to scale it back in order for different states to create new standards, because it was really affecting a lot of people that we don't think about. and it costed the US like $193 billion. I was like, what? That's accounting for like people that were unemployed due to mental illness who have been hospitalized. It was like a large list. But I think if we fix the mental health in the country, we will see things like something getting put through about women's rights specifically, but it was covering way too much. So scaling it back was better. I don't know if I explained that well, but yeah, sorry, I'll shut up.
I think it sounds, you explained it just fine.
Are you saying that you want more mental facilities for these people and want more government agencies to declare some people crazy so that we could? Are you going in that direction?
Are you asking me if I want more government to intervene when people are like kind of crazy? No, but we need to get the people that lack insight into treatment. We have to figure out what the best way to do that is. So I kind of see it more.
Lack insight scares me. That means I gotta hire another government motherfucker to determine who lacks insight. And like those people that the police 5150, most of them are just people who they get mad at or who won't obey them, and suddenly they fit the criteria to go to a loony bin and get on a 3-day hold. So a lot of the regular people could get caught up in those paragraphs.
For sure. It's definitely something I'm concerned with. Like I used to go into different police departments and teach them how to de-escalate based on mental illness. Yeah, but I still worry about it in certain like areas that are like more inner city areas because we don't have enough officers. And so we're still operating with officers that maybe have like not as much training on de-escalation. So hopefully it seems like Trump wants to put more money into that, which is good. It goes into like prison reform and whatnot, but it's definitely something I think about. There's nothing that I think is more traumatizing than somebody getting put on a gurney strapped into a hospital and they're fine. You know what I mean? Like that terrifies me. I think about that all the time. But
so would you be so you're in favor of crossing the criminal justice system with the mental health system? Just to be clear about that.
That's what
it sounds scary on his head, right?
Well, it already is. We just don't think it is.
Very good.
No, the criminal justice, sort of.
No. Like actually, like
how
people.
It is already.
I would say that more people are being housed in jails that should be in a hospital.
Yeah.
Okay.
Full stop.
The benefit of being housed in a jail is that you have due process. When you're a mental patient, you don't have any due process at all. And
That's not true. That's not true at all.
I
don't know where they get seen. In order to even be held in a long-term hospital or even a short-term, even a 5150 hold, they have to go in front of a judge. That exists right now. But the problem is the standard to keep somebody there means like, did they commit a crime yet? No? Okay. So they release them, but these people are on the verge. They can be unmedicated. I find that harmful.
But what I'm saying is that there is no maximum sentence that you can be forcibly locked up because they decide
72 hours against your will. That's the max.
No way.
1,000% Google it.
72 hours. After 72 hours.
I thought it was state to state. I thought it was state to state.
Well, now it is.
That's for an initial assessment, isn't it?
No,
they can't. No, they can give you another 714. They can do that shit.
Isn't it like you have to be?
Sorry, that was me.
Okay, that hurt. But that's like if you're considered harmful against yourself or others, right? That they can get that first hold and then declare further after studying.
I think you can get that first one for damn anything. Someplace, please correct me. But I thought all they got to do is say that he's acting irrational. Don't even really need nothing to back it up. They'll give you that 72 hours. I thought.
So that might get your cops in crisis there on scene, but oftentimes they don't even take them to the hospital. They'll just leave. They'll just be like, oh, they seem to have calmed down a bit, so it's fine. And then they leave somebody who could be dangerous, but the cops didn't see anything, and they could still leave them in the same place as the person that made the call.
Anybody could be
really
dangerous.
Scary.
That's the scary part.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
I
worried
mean,
about
anybody could go
any
ahead, CJ.
I'm worried about giving them any extra control just because I've been through the whole rehab system, and I know lots of people that lie just to get into rehab so that they're not on the streets. So at that point, yeah, I'm sure we've all done. But then
I was
you've
just
got
trying to get out of jail, not off the streets.
But then you have like whoever it is, AI probably at this point, going through somebody's paper history, figuring out if they need to be on meds or committed or whatever.
Yes.
I find that terrifying.
You're not qualified. Nobody on this panel. I don't trust any of y'all enough to make that decision. So I certainly don't trust some government employee to make that decision. We're not qualified.
So CJ and Neo, I wanted to let you guys give your thoughts on the initial topic.
Hey, you're a black dude. I gotta go. Sarah says she's gonna kick me.
That was my original joke. You said something about a black guy, so I was like, all right, I'll come up.
So CJ, what are your thoughts on the 4B movement that women are, well, some women,
Well, I think the joke's on them because I haven't been having sex that much lately anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's ridiculous. I don't think it's serving the purpose that what is the purpose? Can I ask that? What do they think they're accomplishing?
That's my question. What's the end game? To get Trump out?
I saw one of them cutting her hair, and she wasn't even that good looking to begin with. So I don't know what she's winning fighting that fight, but it looks like she's just hurting herself. Like, I'm traumatized, so I'm going to traumatize myself more. That's what it looks like.
Lawyer Chick, I think you were getting ready to go. Did you want to make it?
Hop off.
Go ahead and shout yourself out and give your final thoughts.
Lawyer Chick 5000. I got a channel. I put up short videos. I like to be on other panels talking about legal things, and it was great to be here. Thank you, Sarah.
Lawyer Chick, what do I see you at all the time? Wait, Lawyer Chick. What do I see you at?
Channel Lawyer Chick.
Now with
Barnabas.
I'm Barnabas adjacent. Yes. But now I'm Sarah adjacent. So it's good to see you all and have a great evening. Thank you. This is a fun topic. Good one. Yes.
Good. I'm glad.
Ciao, people.
So can y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. How's everybody doing first and foremost? Good? Cool.
Well.
All right. I think it's just something to artificially be angry about for like another week or two. It'll blow off. I don't think most people have it in them to maintain that level of commitment long term because men, just like women, just like men enjoy sex. They enjoy being with other people, and that's not something that's gonna stop simply because of who got elected. This is just temporary. It's reactionary rather, and a lot of people do it, and it's weird because you know how we always say that in the real world you don't see this stuff. You actually kind of do. So I went to a bar last night and I met these two girls. Right now, I just went there to hang out with my boy, just get a drink or whatever. And one of the girls asked me who I voted for, and mind you, my first impression of this girl. She was stumbling and she was on her phone and she dropped it like twice. So I already knew she wasn't in her right state of mind. So I told her.
Could you tell whether she was Republican or Democrat by that? Because I couldn't tell yet.
Well, once she asked me who I voted for, I already knew where this was going. And honestly, I didn't vote first and foremost. I didn't. I just didn't I didn't believe any of them to vote for them. But somehow being neutral is the same as doing nothing to these people because she cursed me out and told me that I'm a piece of crap and that I did the wrong thing. And then she went on this long tangent about how she was bleeding somewhere, but she never really specified what happened, which I could only assume was because of her level of inebriation at that moment. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that being asked who you voted for is going to become like a new sort of barometer on whether or not
it appears
they want to talk to you or not, or they want to engage in any sort of way. I'm really glad I don't date anymore. Seriously, I got my girl. She's chill. You know what I mean? I'm not going out there hunting or nothing like that. And realistically, if somebody wants you, they're gonna approach you. I don't care how angry anyone is at this particular moment. It's gonna fade away. The next week, they'll be angry about something else that happened, and then they'll just focus on that.
Very good.
I've actually been hearing a commercial on YouTube when I'm listening to my music where it'll talk about your voting record from here on out is going to be public. And they say it in the scary voice. I didn't vote either, you know, but I don't care.
I've been looking at the stories about police who've been denying services. They ask you who'd you vote for. At this time, it was who you're going to vote for. And other government agencies, a restaurant, somebody in a restaurant don't serve Or that was might have been something else. All right.
I mean, it's always our fault, right? You know, we can't do anything right, so whatever. I'm not gonna. It's a Tuesday, basically. You know, I mean, it's literally a Tuesday, which is fun. No, it's Monday, right? Or Monday.
Today is
It might be
Monday.
Tuesday. Sorry
Mod
about that.
Monday.
Yeah, Mod Monday. Right.
See, he didn't read the title.
I've been out of it. No, I've been out of it. It's all good. No, but you know, honestly, look, people need something to be outraged about. I think that's just the way our system works. And to Torsha's point earlier, I think a lot of people are just suffering from undiagnosed mental illness. It does happen.
What's the serious, bro?
No, seriously, it's a real thing. You know what I mean? Not to divulge too much on what my girl does, but she works in that industry, in that field. And a lot of people are brought in there as opposed to jail. So, you know, they're treated there first to see if, you know, they are indeed worthy of going to jail, or they're just, you know, they need help, basically. And a lot of people need help. A lot of people that you see, the homeless people walking around in the streets that are talking to themselves, they're just like high, like schizophrenics, you know? And everybody they don't realize that. They just think these people are crazy for the sake of being crazy. I don't really
think it's drugs a lot of times.
That
Drugs
too. Well,
is a
yeah.
lot of it.
But they're, you know, they're homeless. How much of that are they going to get? You know what I mean? Depending on the area that they're in.
Quite a bit. You'd be surprised.
But one of the big symptoms of a lot of severe mental illness is lack of insight. Anosognosia is the actual term for it. So if we know that 50% of people with something like schizophrenia don't know that they're sick, why the fuck would they go to a hospital? They don't know to bring themselves there. So they rely on caregivers oftentimes. But what happens when they die? You know, so it's like we should help them. It's the compassionate thing to do.
Are you talking about help them because they're dangerous, or help them, period? Because at first I thought you were just talking about dangerous.
They don't know they're sick.
What if they want help?
When I say that they end up becoming dangerous, it's because there's no way to get them into treatment without taking them there, and then they hold on. Bye. Literally, like, I've dealt with this for like 9 years now. Like,
why haven't you gotten help yet, Torsha?
Fuck you.
It's because she doesn't know that she needs help.
Retainer, baby.
Oh my god.
But like, that's the thing, is like the insight component.
I know you lack the insight to know that you need help. We should lock Torsha up and get her the treatment that she needs.
That's okay. I see a psychiatrist once a month. Because I
need a better one. You need more drugs.
I could fall off into that.
But you understand the point I'm making.
Being a dick, yeah, for sure.
No.
I'm not just being a dick. I'm being a dick for a point.
Oh,
the point is that if it's a complete gaslight of the subject, right? You don't know that you need treatment. They say anybody can say that about anybody.
Yeah, exactly. That's why parents, caregivers, and people that know the person should have a say in how their treatment goes. Because unfortunately, with these illnesses, they happen at 18. Almost all the time. Yes, at 18 for young men. Young men are more susceptible at 18. Women are more susceptible at 25. So that's kind of a problem when your parents can't force you to get medication or force you into treatment. You're an adult now. And you could have
I don't feel like you're giving malicious parents or malicious relatives enough attention.
They exist, for sure.
For sure.
I never said that they didn't.
Right. How would you address that though? Because I'm fully opposed to overlapping, to having treatment be tied to any sort of a sentence.
Well, it's definitely a complex issue, but I think having the medical professionals have more of a say in what's going on is definitely
you know that psychiatrists commit self-deletion at the same rate as their schizophrenic patients?
Wait, hold on. What?
Well, they can't treat themselves. They need
self-delete at the same rate as schizophrenics, which is way higher than the general public.
But what does that have to do with what I just said?
It shows that the professionals are not mentally stable frequently themselves.
Oh, really? So we even have them that need help. Sounds like a very big issue. That
everybody needs help, and nobody knows it. We should lock everybody up.
Yeah, we need more government agencies now. I'm sure of it.
Can we have more
You just made a case for it.
Let me ask you this: Why does this feel like this is a growing epidemic based on what we're talking about and how it's the conversation's developing? Why is this a growing epidemic for
Mentally ill people?
Yeah, mentally ill people. Or is it only just not being recognized or, in more recent years?
They did a cross-cultural study on schizophrenia in particular, and they found a lot of really interesting stuff, like something about the delusions or hallucinations is like in America, people with schizophrenia are more likely to have negative voices and good voices. But in somewhere like India, they found that they most of the time only have good voices when they hallucinate, which is wild because it's like, what? Why would a medical illness, why would a biological illness cause one area of the world to have good and bad and then the other? So it's definitely like a very layered issue, I would say.
What'd you come up with? What'd you think that what'd you attribute it to when you heard that?
Technology and freedom, honestly, because we're the most free in the world, right?
And we see more, so they're more likely to have the bad guys visiting.
I think we have to at least put some lines down that forces people to at least be seen. I don't know if that makes sense, because it's like right now we wait too long until somebody's too far gone to the point where they can't even get themselves into care at that point.
Every time you open your mouth, you scare me a little bit more.
Yeah, I believe in like preventative care.
No, she's not wrong, though. It's true. A lot of times you can tell, or more or less, you can sort of get an idea of somebody's mental state based off of their level of self-destruction. A lot of people that are schizophrenic or have any sort of mental illness whatsoever, they tend to self-sabotage a lot without realizing it. They don't know that they're doing something wrong. My mom is actually a schizophrenic, and I tried to get her into an assisted living facility because she can't take care of herself. And she thought that I was trying to put her in like some sort of insane asylum. And I was like, no, Mom, like these people are going to take care of you. They're going to make sure you get your medication. They're going to make sure that you're good, basically. Like you're going to be taken care of once you're here. But she refused it, because in her mind, nothing is wrong. She doesn't, the voices that she would hear in her head, she doesn't see that as like something that.
Can she care for herself, clean herself, feed herself, and all those
things? She can do the basics, yeah, but she can't take care of herself financially unless I help her. And she just puts herself in bad situations because she doesn't know any better. You know what I mean?
Suffering.
Exactly.
It's sad. It's really sad to watch because they don't know.
You know what else is really sad?
Go ahead, Flo.
Is when not crazy people are locked up because they piss somebody off and they're told they're crazy.
Or someone who's just...
So that people do this thing whenever I bring up these issues. They think about themselves having capacity, and then they're like, I would hate for somebody to do that. It's a very solipsistic way of looking at this issue.
No, it's not solipsistic. If it can happen to me, it can happen to anybody else. In fact, something similar almost has happened to me. I had a court-ordered complete psych diagnosis. Part of my sentence for drug distribution was to get a complete psych evaluation and follow the recommendations of the healthcare provider. It was open-ended in the sentence.
Okay, but
luckily, I'm sane enough to.
But you also have capacity. So the thing about capacity is that we have a legal and a medical standard, and even the people that are the most crazy or whatever you want to say are not meeting the standard. That's a problem. So even though you can get yourself help, and that's great, you're not going to get forced against your will. Some people
I was already forced against my will.
But you're out, aren't you? You're out.
Yeah. I was forced against my will because
so how exactly were you in long-term care or long-term? How were you?
I don't agree with it. I already luckily I got a good counselor, and I studied for the motherfucker.
Oh, and so how did you get that? Did you make that decision?
Yeah,
I didn't choose who to go to.
You didn't.
I just signed up where it was free.
Decision they were given to you against your will.
The psych evaluation, yes, it was.
And look, you're out. You have capacity.
You're
missing my point.
For now.
Right. But what I'm saying is,
know.
If these people are crazy, which many of them are, right? They self-delete at a higher rate than the general population that they're supposed to treat. I could get anybody.
Proving my point. Thank you.
Why do you think that putting the patients in charge of the general population that they're crazier than is an improvement?
I didn't say that.
Well, okay, they self-delete at a higher rate than the general population, right?
That means they are not getting access to care, right?
I'm talking about the people that you think need to give the care. The doctors.
you're going back to your claim earlier.
Yes, you haven't addressed it.
Yes, I have already, though. I
Okay.
said you just made the case that we need more access to care if we have our
These
even
are the
our
providers.
doctors. Right. So then what does that tell you about the system in this country?
It's the
flawed.
provider that it sucks, right?
Right. So we need
Okay.
more access.
That it's looking
More
for
of the
you.
thing. We want
Listen.
this system
Care
sucks, so
on
we want
people.
more of the suck.
That's not what I said, sir. Like, that's not.
That's
what I said.
the only logical result. If I tell you that the doctors are crazier than the population,
You haven't
say,
substantiated that claim, first of all. I
You're
don't
right.
even
I
know
haven't.
if
None
that's
of us have
true.
provided
I've
links
been
to
giving
anything
you the
except the link I
benefit of
put
the doubt.
backstage, showing
But
that the U.S. is not even top 10 most free countries in the world.
Okay, but that's not what I said.
Mhm. Go on. What are you saying?
Freedom is
So I'm not going to make a claim so you can keep pushing the goalpost further. I've been very
Well,
clear
I'm
on
pushing
what I
your
think
shitty
this
claim back.
country-
You say that we need more health care for the healthcare providers.
Okay, so according to Flow State, he believes
Mm-hmm.
that we don't
Let me
have the
steal
mental
man
health
his, 'cause you're
problem
about to
in this
slam
We
that
country.
do.
shit.
We
I
don't
know
have a
you're
mental
about to
health
straw man
solution.
his argument. Let me steal man his
Said, like,
argument.
Oh,
guy or
stop
something.
it.
Yeah. Let me
Go
steal
ahead,
man his
Joe
argument
Cole.
before
Go
you
ahead, Joe Cole.
straw man his argument.
I didn't.
Uh,
Well, he's been straw manning me this whole fucking
Okay,
time.
okay. But he is saying something to the effect of if the people who are to judge the crazy people are not to sane themselves, meaning they delete at a higher rate or what have you, and for you to say that, oh, that means we need more professionals. Then when they come in, we're going to need more people to help them out. He is saying that's a self-perpetuating system and it's
But I
illogical.
said that we need like a system overhaul. If our medical professionals are not getting access to treatment, this is like a legal issue. This is a bigger issue than I think people are giving it credit for. Right now, we have medical advocates that meet with the person, that advocate for them. So it's not like it's just a mentally ill person being evaluated by one person. They have somebody on their behalf signing the forms as well. I have an issue with them. More on that later. But there's like a lot of people that meet them. Police will get to them first, then EMTs, then an actual psychiatrist, then an actual judge. And it's all happening at the hospital and they're getting pushed
Let me
out.
ask you.
I'm very
do a lot
knowledgeable
of
in this area, Flow State.
good. That's going to
Shake
come
your
in.
head.
None of them evaluate the person except for the mental health. Nobody will say the
that's
mental health professional.
so now you're just wrong.
The
Look it up
mental
right
health.
now.
The judge does
Portia.
not evaluate the person. He rubber stamps whatever the mental health professional
That's
says.
not true at all.
That is the
As
safest.
a legal
exactly how
professional,
the
that's
judge
not
does it.
true.
Did you
To
say
get
as a legal
court
professional?
order-
Are
to
you
get a court
how many
order
professions
in
are
this
you in?
country?
Chill, let her go.
To get a court order, like to be put into a hospital for longer than 72 hours, you have to stand in front of a judge. Most of the time, we only have about 8 beds per hospital, some give or take. But to get that court order, to get approved by the judge, you have to commit an actual crime. So when you say that this is happening, I'm telling you, no, it's not. Do you want to say anything?
What's
to that?
this? What is the this is happening that I'm saying?
That people are getting put away against their will and that they're just going to
People are
have
getting
nobody.
yes.
No, Flo. That's just not true.
Let
It's
me
in the
ask you guys
numbers.
been dancing for a minute. Let me get in here. I do a lot of work with the homeless, and I go into the tents and that type of shit and all of that bullshit.
Oh, me
And what would be the standard when these police walk up on these people? Because I think by your definition, at least 50%, a lot more would be crazy, whatever need to go in there. But by my definition, most of them are happy. That's more than fucking you and me accomplish on most days. And as long as they're functioning, what is the standard here that we're going to start picking these people off the street?
So I agree that there's people that could be happy living outside in a tent, but I think it's wrong. I think it's not compassionate on our end if we know that we can help them. I think when it comes to people choosing how they want to live, being able to just lay out on the streets, I don't think that's moral. And
Who's
I don't think
solipsistic now?
Yeah, it's not your fault.
but that's so you think that people should just live in tents outside with no access
If they
to
choose to live,
What
clean
if they
water?
chose to? What if they
If
chose
they're
to?
happy, then you can't force them to live the way you want them to live just because it makes you queasy or whatever.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. It's definitely
What is this gauge here?
big
What is the
issue.
standard?
So
I
I'm
got a
not
buddy,
the pro-
Torsia. Can I tell one more quick
Yeah, go
story?
ahead, go
One
ahead.
guy in the park, This guy said, he's like, I've done everything, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I've been to the military for X amount of time. I've had a family, a wife and a family for X amount of time, did time in jail, did this over here. And I've been homeless for, I forgot how long he's been homeless. And he tell you, among them all, this is what I choose. This is what any sane man would choose. I suggest every man try it for 6 months. If you did, you never go back to the other way. He's trying to talk me into his way, and this dude is saying it's fucking me and you.
It's crazy that you say that, because literally my family member goes around saying that they were also in the military and that they were also married and all of those things that aren't actually true. So I'd be curious how we can find a way to know if somebody is delusional or if that stuff is actually verified. Because that, to me, we have the same experience on somebody who's homeless that lives outside that says the same thing. So it's crazy.
I see a lot of people say that, and some I look and I say, this cat's crazy. This cat seems sane.
Yeah, I know.
I've met a lot of people who are homeless who choose that way of life. Many of them have cars. Many of them have jobs.
I was homeless.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you know. Then you know.
Then I
Many
do
of them
know.
choose that lifestyle.
It's not a choice. It's
For
not
you, it
necessarily
wasn't.
a choice.
For you.
No, that's not true.
So you chose to
I
be homeless.
chose to do it because I couldn't get all the way home, and I stayed out there for like 6 months.
So okay, then why are you arguing with me? If you chose to
I'm
be
not
homeless
arguing with
for
you.
6
You
months,
keep pointing shit at me, and every time I say something, you get mad.
did you choose to be homeless or not?
What's considered a choice? Genuinely.
Could you have lived a different way?
Could I have lived a different way?
Could you have lived under a roof
No.
during those 6 months? No.
No.
So
Well,
it was
yes, I
not.
could have in the
okay,
church.
so you chose to be homeless then voluntarily.
I guess I chose to be homeless voluntarily. We know that that's like such a ill way of looking at it.
No, we don't. Did you? What was the alternative you had available to you?
I don't know. I couldn't find anything else. I had my dogs. No, you're missing the point.
She had her
How would I
dogs.
know what
You had a
other
dog?
ways
So
there
nobody would
are?
take you in because you had dogs with you, and nobody wants dogs, right?
Well, I don't know. I didn't know there were any homeless
Well,
shelters.
if you had, if the things that you propose were available when you were homeless, you wouldn't have got to keep your dogs either, because they would have picked you up and put you somewhere.
Okay, what's your point?
Do you think that that would have been a preferable outcome for you to have gotten picked up by the people catchers and put in an institution and had your dogs go, Lord knows where?
Well, no, I
We need to
got me a
protect these
job.
dogs from this crazy homeless lady because she can't take
They're
care
not-
of herself.
they're not
She doesn't
crazy.
need dogs to take care of on top of that.
I don't
No,
think
I
most-
got a job.
Good
And I
point,
didn't,
bro. Most people
hold
choose
on,
to
hold
be
on.
homeless.
I got a job in a state that I didn't know anybody in, and it took me about a month before I could actually go and afford a place to live at. So I already transitioned into that once I got the job, which was like pretty.
But the
like,
month
it
that
takes a
you were on the
while.
street with your 4 dogs, you understand
Four?
that the cop could have walked up. That's 4 in my head.
Jesus.
It just gave you 2 more dogs.
Okay, but what's the question?
The police could have walked up on you and been like, hey, listen, man, you're out here on the streets. It's not safe for you. Certainly, you can't take care of yourself, so you can't take care of these animals. They get shipped off somewhere while they go evaluate you. The puppies get euthanized by mistake. You get held extra time because you're getting fight with some crazy pregnant lady that lie on you. You go through all of that
This is very
nonsense, right?
specific.
It's
I'm, like,
all
trying-
in my
like,
head.
hell.
Man, all in my head.
Like honestly, let me
That's
hop
the
in here for a
difference. I
second.
got myself out of that situation pretty quickly.
Yes,
You know
and
what
we're
I
very
mean? So I
happy that you
wasn't.
got out of that.
But
Hold on. I actually want to add to your point. I don't think most people choose to be homeless, outside of, an occasional hippie that like drinks kombucha all day, you know what I mean? And they want to like live in the road. The majority of the population that are homeless, sometimes they'll commit crimes because they just want to bed to sleep at night because they don't want to be outside, and a lot of people that are mentally ill don't know any better. They can't hold down a job. They can't hold down a place to live. So sometimes their only recourse is to be homeless. But I believe that us as a society and as, our government could house all these people if they realistically wanted to, because you got a lot of people that are coming across the border and they're housing them. So we can house our own citizens as well. We don't have to have them that way.
We could do that any day. Listen, I got to get out of here. My battery's done. I'm charged up. Y'all still here? I'll be back. Sarah's been nice.
It was nice talking to you, Joe.
Hi, Joe.
Same. Be easy, guys.
See you next round.
Yeah, just to finish up, let me slam my plane real quick. So the majority of the people that are homeless out there, they do need some kind of help. You know, once more, like I said, you do have the occasional person that does choose that lifestyle. They want to be a nomad and travel the land or whatever the case may be, you know. But yeah, no, most people don't want to be in that lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm homeless and that shit sucked.
I just don't know how any of you would know that. Like, how do you know?
Because I lived it.
Wait, hold on. How would you know though, Flo? Like,
Yeah,
I don't know, but I'm not making these broad stroke claims
Right,
that most
but I
of
have
them.
family in
I
this.
could
We both
agree.
have family in this situation. It's a situation that a lot of people don't recognize in the same way unless you live it. But I don't have an ill will to like lock a bunch of people up because I think they need to get off the street because I don't like it. I think
You understand that that's how it would play out for many people.
It opens a
But
door
that's-
so that.
but
not
how do
seeing
you know that if we
somebody
haven't
would
done
do
that?
Okay, let's play this thought experiment. If let's say Torsha's homeless again, and they decide that you need help, but you don't need help. You don't think you need help. You don't want
Well,
the
do
help.
I have capacity or not? Am I ill? Get
It
me
doesn't matter. That
treatment.
is, oh
It
my god.
does matter. That's what I've
So
been
it's
saying.
you right now. It's you right now.
Okay, then why would I need anybody to do anything? How am I?
You wouldn't, but
disrupting
it's not
anybody?
your choice.
But see, this is a stupid hypothetical. Is what
No,
I'm trying
it's
to point
absolutely
out.
not. It happens. Happens all the time. It always has happened. You can go to
Prove
to
it.
Russia and Soviet Russia.
No,
They used to do
in
that.
America,
Mental
though.
illness has always been used to bypass the due process system of the courts.
Okay, can you support that though? In America, I don't even necessarily
support it
disagree with
anecdotally.
you. I don't.
Well,
Okay, so
let me
if you
ask
wanna do-
though, Flo,
Okay,
if a
just gonna
woman
do that.
freely, like the Britney Spears thing, right? She shaves her head, has a mental breakdown. Like, would we as onlookers look at that and be like, this probably something probably needs to happen with this, right? Whether she's getting locked up is another thing, but you know, like with all of these women, and I kind of want to tie it back in with all of these women kind of throwing this big temper tantrum, would we want that to be kind of something that we push to look at, or not even just that, but other people? Like if you can see on the surface level, okay, I think there might be a screw loose here, you know, should we push to have that 72 hours or whatever the case may be?
I think most people can make mental health decisions on their own. I think most people can do that. That's why they had the whole deinstitutionalization thing, whatever. We have antipsychotic medication that allows people to like actually function. I'm not saying that all people have to be on medication, but to get somebody even seen, they have to know that they're sick. And if you don't know you're sick, I think somebody should act on behalf, at least to see how it goes, you know, because early intervention treatment is very crucial. For a lot of people that have one psychosis, early intervention treatment could, I don't want to say reverse it, but they won't manifest as something worse or something more long-term like schizophrenia. And I think we need to acknowledge those studies, because a lot of people could have these mental illnesses that we see now that could have been treated with the early intervention treatment. So
is
I don't know.
ADHD a mental illness?
I find that terrifying.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, but is
ADHD a mental illness or depression?
Make an assertion. Why are you asking me like that question? You know,
Is
I'm
it
going to say
confusing?
yes. It's like you're walking
Is
me
it a
down
confusing
something.
question for you?
No, Flo.
I'm trying to figure out where the line is between what does and does not qualify for a mental illness in Torsha
Then
land.
why are you asking me?
Because
to
you're
make
the
that
one who
for
I'm trying to
you?
figure out.
I already said what I had to say. Don't make me fucking have to make something so that you can push all this shit on me, because it's
You're
exhausting.
being broad, and I'm trying to.
I'm not being broad. I've been very
so that I can show
specific.
you
You
how-
just don't like it.
So
Maybe
that
you're
I can show you in
delusional.
specific cases how this is a bad idea. You don't want to answer the question
I've
because you know that
answered all
you know that
of your
ADHD and
questions,
depression
though.
are.
Okay, you're just triggered. I can't. It's fine.
So you mentioned schizophrenics. Does everyone that talk to themselves or do they have a level of schizophrenia?
Do you mean capacity with schizophrenia, or do you just mean
Okay.
You won't answer the question the way you asked it. She'll
Hold
answer
on,
what she wants to
Flo.
answer.
No, you asked me if are people talking to themselves all schizophrenic? Is that what you asked?
Yeah, if they talk to themselves on a regular basis, or they all have some level. Is that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I'm just trying to help do what Flo was trying to do.
I think it would depend on the on how they're talking to themselves. You know, are you thinking to yourself about something? You know, you're trying to figure something out, or are you having like another conversation with a being that you believe is there? You know, there's different levels to like how people talk to themselves.
Which is capacity.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
By the way, just to answer Flo's question, I did look it up actually. ADHD is one of the most common mental disorders affecting children. Symptoms of ADHD include inattention, not being able to keep focus, hyperactivity, excessive movement that is not fitting to the setting, and impulsivity. So it's considered a mental illness in children
and adults. It's the most common, one of the most common in children.
Yeah, most common in children, but it's just telling me children here, but I can keep looking. But I actually wanted to know if it was or not.
I think where we're disagreeing, Flo, is we're on the excuse me, the concept of capacity. Like, can somebody make decisions? Do they know how to pick between certain things in their day-to-day life? When I say somebody lacks capacity, it's that their behavior and their thoughts are not lining up. And it's like actually really bizarre.
Capacity is not ever an objective standard.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, we have.
It is a standard. We do have.
It's not an objective one. It's not an objective one.
Oh, okay. So you're saying it's dependent on somebody observing
somebody's opinion, perspective, whatever. What I'm saying is it gives your word.
Yeah, I get it.
Measure over my word. And like with ADHD, for instance, I've been diagnosed with it twice.
Mm-hmm.
They have chemical solutions for what they say is a chemical imbalance. They do 0 chemical tests. This is shoddy science at best.
So that's an opinion. I don't really have anything to say against that.
Don't you think that if there was a chemical imbalance that required a chemical solution, we would have any way of testing for that imbalance chemically?
Why are you asking me this? I don't know. Do I look like a doctor? You're asking me if there's a chemical imbalance that we cannot test for, should we give them? I never said we had to give them medication. So
that was part of your whole thing, is that they don't have access to the medication.
Yeah, so they need to see a doctor. They need to see a doctor. I'm not saying we have to medicate them against their will.
Then how do we get them if that's the treatment and they decide not to take their medicine?
The treatment doesn't necessarily have to be that. I said that we have antipsychotics, and that's what kind of got people to make that decision on their own, because it made them not delusional, but it's a case-by-case basis.
Should people be allowed to go off of those if they decide to?
For sure. I think so.
And then they get back on the street, right? And so hypothetically, if they can go off of it, then we're back in square one, right? Then we just force them through this circular thing where they end up in the spot they started out in.
Unless we can provide housing for them.
Most people that do take medication, they don't stay on it. A lot of them will get off of it because they don't think that they need it. I think that's where she's going to with the whole capacity thing. Torsha, maybe it would be more helpful if you defined capacity to the panel so that maybe there's a better understanding.
So from my understanding, we have 2 levels of capacity. We have the legal standard, and then we have like the medical center standard. So like in a hospital setting, they may ask you, what's your name? Do you know your birthday? And you answer all that, and you're deemed to have capacity in that area. If it's a legal standard, they're asking you, do you know what a jury panel is? Do you know why you're here today? And they answer yes, yes, and yes. They have capacity there. I don't know like the actual definition for it. Probably they can make seemingly rational decisions on their behalf. I don't know.
Your level of rationality, essentially. That's where you're getting across with this.
Yeah.
No, and I'm only speaking anecdotally because I don't work with the mental health community, obviously. But I can tell like from my own experience with my mom, like I said, because she takes medication for it, but I had to watch her and make sure she takes it, because if she doesn't, she'll say she took it and then she doesn't, and then she starts hearing shit again. And it's not the standard inner monologue that we have within ourselves. It's what is believed to be like another entity talking to you, even though it's not.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is just like these people need to be watched because they won't take their medicine. They just won't. So to an extent, you kind of have to be housed in order to make sure that you are being responsible.
or at least
Well,
that
then-
you're safe, right?
But-
Like
This
we
is
don't want
weaponizing sex.
no, it's about safety, because a lot of times if you don't want to take medication, that's fine, but don't go running outside naked looking for a gun. That's my experience. I know there's different ones. It makes me worried, not just on their own behalf, but for the public. It is an
Were you
issue.
able to find a gun like that?
For me? No, I'm saying that they were looking for a gun that I took care of, the person I took care of, and they wanted to kill us. So, yeah, they thought that we were like entities. It was a weird. It's hard
you're the
to know
shadow
for
people.
sure.
Oh, it all makes sense now.
Hmm?
I thought that was a good joke. Never mind.
Use the show.
Oh, it wasn't
It
a
was.
joke. I
It was
was
amusing. It was amusing. I got a little internal
Oh wait, you
chuckle out
guys
of it.
think I'm joking? Is that what you're saying?
No, he made a joke about shadow people, but it
Oh.
was
It was lost on people who haven't done math. So.
right. That was the part I wasn't going
Is
to
that
say.
a
out
thing that
loud.
happens when you do meth?
Is that
Start
like
seeing
a
shadow
thing?
people?
Watch the words. The words.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. No, whatever.
So let's tie this back in, Torsia, because you were kind of angling at that before when we talked about the women shaving their heads and saying, you know, that they're just gonna not talk to boys anymore and so on and so forth. And you said, I think we should bring back asylums. Would these women that are kind of making this staple point, would they be like, how would you consider them to be crazy to that degree?
Well, I'm not a doctor, so they would have to go in front of a doctor. I don't know these people.
Right.
I just think that we could show more compassion with recognizing mental health issues in general.
Would you think on the surface level this would be considered like questionable behavior? Irrational?
Yeah, somebody shaving their head because of men or because of Trump, they fear that Trump is going to do something crazy to them and take away their rights. Yeah. Yeah, I think it could definitely be, it needs to be evaluated.
I don't think that's a mental illness, though. I think that's just
Yeah.
social contagion more than anything.
For sure.
You know, a lot
For
of people
sure.
are just following the trend that they're seeing, and most of it is a trend. You know, if A person does so, B person will follow. Monkey see, monkey do sort of philosophy. And again, it's a lot of it is just reactionary and anger. These things will eventually subside, and they will always find something else to be angry about. In terms of tying that to like mental illness, I don't think a lot of people that are going through it are mentally ill. They're just angry because they feel like their voices aren't heard, and you know they're just upset. Like that's all it boils down to. But they're not gonna abstain from men, you know, because men and women do ultimately need each other, and they do function well together. And a lot of these people will, they're gonna want to have sex. You know, let's keep it real here. Like women enjoy just as much as men do. I don't see that being a long-term thing. And like, I give it a month, okay? And this is my perspective on this. All right, hear me out just for 1 second. When you go through a traumatic experience, right? It usually takes a little bit of time before you get over it. So you're kind of mourning the loss of a former life that you lived, and now you're living a new life. But after a while, that new normal becomes your base level normal. So a lot of the feelings that they're currently feeling right now is going to become a new normal to them. And that's why we fluctuate with our levels of anger, and we go back and forth in deciding like what we choose to want to be angry about and whatnot.
Well, quick shout out. There's about 160 of you watching right now, but I see only 88 likes. It's free. Just hit that little button. We love you for that. And then I want to ask the question, what if it sticks? What if this doesn't just blow over in a month? What if this continues and actually grows bigger? What do we expect to see after this? What kind of consequences, repercussions, ripple effects would we anticipate coming from this movement?
Nothing.
Yeah,
I don't think anything is going to happen. I think most people are going to fall in line because that's just how we are as a species. We do that. We're all tribes at the end of the day, and we will adjust to the way things are. You know, some of us won't. Some of us will, you know, lose friendships over this. We'll start hating each other. We'll start, you know, telling each other that we're pieces of crap, even though they don't know a thing about us. And there's going to be a lot of things that happen in the short term because it's the short term. Again, people are being reactionary right now. But once it settles, if you feed the beast, obviously it's going to continue to grow and get fatter over time. But it's not sustainable. People are going to find something else to put their energy towards.
But if it does stay, that's the hypothetical I'm asking. And P. Fletch coming in with the big three. He says, please thank a salt miner. Yes, thank you, P. Fletch. That's what I'm asking is let's pretend this does grow out of control and it does ripple effect and more women catch on and more women say, yeah, I'm shaving my head too. No more sex. And we can presume the next 4 years, the dating pool is slim to none. Women aren't even talking to men, let alone interacting with them. Like, what do we foresee any consequence that come from that? Go ahead, Kat.
I think it will just be liberal women. So the only ones who will be affected would be the liberal guys. And I think it's just going to further make a divide between the left and the right. If anything, more so than the men and the women. And it's not as many people as you think it is on the left, like that are that extreme. It's just not. It's like a tiny little fringe group of people. And I think they're not so much crazy, like schizophrenic or mentally. I think they're more, this type of people, they're more narcissistic. They're more like have high anxiety. They're more like coddled. They're those type of people. They're not the type of people that are like a danger to society or anything. I wouldn't say that. They're just, not stable, but not so unstable that it's a problem.
What if it amplifies and instead of just ignoring men, now they start attacking men?
I did see a couple horrible videos on Twitter, X, whatever, where like there's like a bunch of big unattractive women and they would look at a family and go to the kid and start like stabbing them or whatever. Yeah, it was like the most horrible thing and I had to get off the internet for a couple days. But I saw like a whole compilation of these and they're like, why is this happening? Is it mental illness? And it's like weird because like in South Korea it was the men doing it that were mad at the women for not wanting to be with them. So I'm like, what if, horrible thought, but what if it's the women who can't get the men who start attacking women who and their children who like can get them? Like that's just a crazy thought, but it is an interesting way that America would just make things.
You said that was in South Korea?
No. The one that the women were attacking was in America.
Oh, it's in America. Okay.
And this was recent?
Yeah.
All because of the 4B movement?
No, before that. But I'm just theorizing.
There was a whole compilation of kids getting stabbed.
Not just stabbed, but like attacked by women. And I think the compilation was more about like, how there was women are more nurturing and more gentle and love children. And it's like, no, I don't think so.
Until they're not.
No, I think I don't think so at all. In fact,
everyone is sterile on the wrong day.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a scary thought. Anybody else have thoughts on that?
Kids shouldn't have been being assholes, probably.
Oh, God.
I agree with Neo. I think it's going to blow over in a month.
I hope so for a lot of reasons. Kat, did you need to make an exit?
Yes, I have to go.
All right. Feel free to drop your channel and just give your final thoughts.
Interesting talk. I don't think it's going to be that serious. I think the people who are doing this are already checked out of the dating market anyways. And yeah, I mean, it's just a small fringe group. In my opinion, I don't think, and it's better for the rest of us because we can tell who the crazy people are and we can avoid them and we know not to engage, like be nice, but you don't have to engage with people.
True. Wow.
True.
Now I feel like you just fear-mongered me. I'm like, oh God, my babies. Oh Lord. Well, thanks for joining tonight, Kat, and we'll catch you on the next round.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah, I like I said, I don't really see this going on for a long period of time. It will be for a while. It's gonna get worse before it gets better, but like any storm, it eventually blows over. People can't maintain that level of anger long term. It doesn't happen. That's not the way we're built.
Try me.
And I find the older ladies that are agging these girls on that have seen this type of thing happen every 4 years, where it's like they get really upset and then it blows over every single time. At least it has in my lifetime. I find that like a special kind of messed up, that they're like agging these girls on.
Think about your angriest moment in your life, right? Think about a moment where you felt like, you know what, nothing is going to get better. This is as worse as it gets. And then you woke up the next day and realized that it wasn't that bad. Or maybe you were picked on in school, you know, you had a bully at work, and all, you know, you were really thinking to yourself, damn, like my life is shit. This is going to be horrible for the rest of my life. And then it doesn't end up being that way. We don't hold resentment that long. We can be angry for a long period of time. But Sarah, to answer your question, there's no need to be fear-mongery about it. It's not going to happen that way. You're going to have a couple of duds out there, and if it can only affect you if you allow it to affect you. That's the way I've always looked at these type of things.
Yeah.
You know, if you're a person that works and you do your thing, and you know you focus on your own life and you take care of those people that are closest to you, this stuff is not going to really touch you. It's not going to hit you in any meaningful way. If you're like terminally ill on the internet and you're constantly just like doom scrolling and absorbing all this material, you're like blackpilling yourself on this stuff, you know, then it's going to get to a point where you're going to go a little insane because this is all you're going to think about. But if you, as I like to say, if you touch some grass once in a while and you just focus on other things that are happening in your life, you know, maybe pay that electric bill that's on your counter that's been there for like the last like 10 weeks, you know. A lot of people get angry because there's other things happening in their own life right now that they can't resolve. And as a result, they look for something to get upset about that seems more attainable to them because it's something that they can just do right away instead of the things that they have building up in their own personal lives.
Right. No, that makes sense. I'm just wondering, like, how far can women take that? You know, I mean, we've seen so many feminism waves and so many different things coming abroad, and it's, I'm not giving them too much credit to the degree of shaving your head is probably not going to pick up amongst women. Like, I don't foresee a bunch of women being like, yeah, I'm totally going to shave my head. That sounds great.
No.
But I'm wondering how much that social influence piece will begin to trickle down, especially to the younger girls. You know, what is out there on the internet and what's out there on TikTok and all of these things. And it's just a scary thought to think that those who can be influenced are now seeing this shit. And like at what degree is that going to impact? I understand the women who are doing it now. Yeah, they might give up in a month, or they might, you know, regret it, or maybe, you know, want to go out and get some anyways. But the damage is being done online. That's where it's impacting.
I got you. You want to? I'll give you the worst case doomsday scenario. Okay.
Doomsday it. 4
years, because Trump can't be reelected. After he's gone, they're going to have to deal with somebody else. And whether it's like a Republican or a Democrat, it doesn't matter. He's not coming back. So some of that will subside. The same way when Biden got elected, you know, how a lot of these people that were going insane, they kind of calmed down a little bit. You know what I mean? Because he got elected. So a lot of that insanity just fizzled away. So if you want to have the worst case scenario, 4 years. But in that 4 year period, it's not going to be like women are just going to take arms and start like attacking men on the streets willy-nilly. I don't think that's going to happen. I think you'll have your outliers. There will be people that do that in certain circumstances, but it's not going to be a big thing.
Yeah, that's fair. But we also didn't, Roe v. Wade wasn't turned over yet, not until later, like when Trump was elected the first round. And I don't even know if they realized whether that was a threat or not. Now it's like locked in pretty well, which I don't think you wouldn't have been able to unlock that again anyways, even if the Democrats won, because it went back to the states. You'd have to push really hard to bring that back.
The Supreme Court would have overturned it regardless of who was in office.
Yeah, it wouldn't have mattered.
That's what I'm saying. So that was, but that's kind of the whole purpose behind this, is like the my body, my choice concept, and the abortion issues. And I believe what I heard, now I don't know if it's true, but like certain like medical tools were going to be unavailable, in order to even perform abortion. So even if the state allowed it, they wouldn't even have access to those utilities to be able to perform one, so on and so forth. Which I don't know if that's even true or not, but that was just something somebody said to me. I was like, that sounds stupid. You can't ban a medical device.
It seems to me like the internet gives the false impression that a conservative can't be friends with a liberal. Like I have liberal friends. I don't even vote, like I was telling you, but I think the people that do spend that amount of time online watching politics may get sucked into it, but I don't think the numbers are as high as the narrative would like to put on, I guess.
Well, I mean, we could see the just by the voting numbers, right? The states across the board were lit up in red. That should be enough to tell you kind of where everybody stands on this election and with what they wanted to vote on and what they believed in, so on and so forth. But it's still kind of a scary thought that to think that there are people out there that would rather do harm than to just deal with what the election results were, right? It's a scary thought to think that as a retaliatory concept, they're going to do things in order to harm others, whether it's, doing more to yourself and then hoping the ripple effects harm others or so on and so forth. But it's a scary thought to think that that's even out there, right?
Yeah. I think they've been lied to, honestly, about Trump anyway. So I think over time, they're going to realize that this wasn't true, that wasn't true. And I just think it'll calm down. I mean, if you think that Donald Trump is going to do all these horrible things like Hitler and shit, then of course they're scared, but once they realize that was spoon-fed to them by the media, that they will come to their senses, hopefully. And if they don't, gotta help.
Then we can go back to the mental illness question.
Right. Yeah, we definitely went off onto a totally separate issue, but it begs the question, what capacity?
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to distinguish.
That's what makes me say, okay, that is kind of tied in, because if people are ripple affecting and becoming influencers of something that's completely irrational and pushing
false.
that,
yeah,
right, then could we, as a system, do something to prevent that, or maybe do a mental wellness check?
I think I'm actually definitely having creators that are on the right speak about why they like Trump and point out stuff that's factually true. I think with enough people, it can at least get them to understand that people actually feel this way. It wasn't irrational. I don't know. But sorry, go ahead, CJ.
I'm starting to think it's my job as an older gentleman now to tell the youth that this happens every 4 years and it's going to be sensationalized every 4 years, and not to believe.
How old are you?
Big or strong as your age as it seems online.
We're not older gentlemen. Get that shit out of here.
I was trying to be distinguished.
I'm old.
Yeah.
Blonde hairs in my beard.
Can't you tell I'm being a fussy baby brat?
Fussy as I can't say that here.
Are you?
Yeah.
You can cuss.
Yeah.
CJ is not 50. CJ, what are you, in your late 30s?
I'm 37. I'm same age as Flo.
Oh, you're a spring chicken. Don't worry
My
about it.
age
Good.
too. Yeah. 37, 37, 37.
What I mean by that is people that have seen it a couple of times, to let people know that it's not as big of a deal as we're seeing online.
Oh, yeah, it's not.
It's
It
definitely
really
good
isn't.
it was a landslide, though, because then it's you'll constantly ask yourself, am I just losing my mind, or is more than half the country believe that? You know what I mean? I think it can kind of, for somebody who's on the brink, I'm not sure that it could help them.
Well, and that's what I was saying, is I think a lot of people voted for economics this round. I don't think the social portion was that important anymore, because all of the big major issues have already been resolved. Abortion wasn't on the table. LGBTQ has its own thing going already. There's no more major societal issues I feel are on the table.
Yeah, I
So
don't think anybody should necessarily. Well, It's like vote on specifically social issues that change every couple. I don't know, but I don't know. I think it's just emotion. People are scared. I think the media has something to do with it. I feel like people should post factually accurate stuff, but that's a topic for another day. At least like the newspapers and stuff.
This is all wrestling. Politics is all wrestling. That's all it is.
Mhm.
If anybody's ever watched wrestling, you know, you have the baby faces, which are the good guys, and then you got the heels, which are the bad guys. And what's happening is that this is just one big entertainment ring, you know, and you're supposed to choose a side. You're supposed to vote and be really happy that someone won, and you're supposed to boo the other person that you see as the adversary. And it's one big television show. That's honestly the way that I look at all of this. And the only reason that I think people are getting all bent out of shape, men and women alike, it's because we have the technology to be exposed to it at a high degree now where we didn't before. You know, when we had like beepers and like flip phones, we weren't as in the know unless we were like reading newspapers or watching the news, which is now considered fake news. And you know what I mean? So like we just weren't as informed as we are now. So now that we're able from different parts of the world, because all of us are from a different part of the world, and we're able to have this conversation with each other, it's more sensationalized because we're just exposed to it more. That's what it boils down to. But it's always been like this. Every 4 years, like CJ said, every 4 years, it's always like this.
I actually have a video compilation somewhere of every president, since like the 30s, since film started, saying during a campaign, "This is the most important election of our lives." Where that is.
Hi, Demolish.
Peace and respect to you all. I've been listening for about an hour. What a great conversation. All of you participating so well. Really liked a lot of the things that I heard. Felt compelled. Unfortunately, my hair and makeup people could not show up on such short notice. So I won't be coming on cam.
That's okay.
All good.
What do you think so far?
I think a lot of things. You want me to comment on everything I've heard so far?
Give me whatever you got. I'll take it.
Pause.
Okay, so the first things I heard was Flow State coming at, is it Torsha or Tori? Because whichever you prefer.
I may have came at her once or twice.
Well, make a choice, ma'am.
Tori's good.
Tori. Coming at Tori and Tori deflecting. Now he was coming at her kind of hard in her opinion, but she was deflecting and wasn't directly answering some of the questions. Felt cornered, which is, I mean, I don't know how long you've known Flow State, but I've known him long enough that he is being genuine in his questions, and he is trying to corner a person down to their actual opinion, but he's not trying to trap them so he can show that they're an idiot. He's not trying to do that.
I know. I know. I like Flo. Flo's fine. Yeah.
Okay. All right. CJ said almost nothing the entire time I've been listening, just little blurp, 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 blurp. And so I don't even know what to think of that guy. Neo Starling is starting to comment on the world's most popular reality show that we call Politics. And yeah, people love it. It's better than pro wrestling. It's more believable. But I do not think that I know any of you. And I do not think that I know Kamala Harris. I don't think I know that person. I don't think I know Donald Trump either. You know, I see a product that is very, very refined by a series of professional coaches that is aired on television and cut to the liking of their representatives.
Sounds
That's what
like
I think
wrestling.
so far.
Yeah, it does.
It is.
All right,
Yeah.
keep going.
Keep going. I could make an assertion. You want me to make an assertion?
Yeah, I want everything you got.
I love assertions. Okay, so here's the idea. If I say something outrageous enough, you're going to have thoughts.
Okay.
And I'd love to hear them. Okay, because other humans are my dipstick for reality and whether or not my mapping is correct. And since I only learn from correction, because correction is the only learning, everything else is only confirmation, I want corrected. That makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Great. Everybody's on board. Okay. Ancient religions are describing high technology confused as magic.
Okay.
Seems legit.
Magic is just a
Says
form of
Portia,
technology.
what do we think about this one? Does this one need treatment and not know it?
Give her 5 minutes.
Okay.
Sorry.
I'll keep my eyes
Neo
on you
said
there,
something that
Richard. Go ahead.
Okay. Neo said
I
something that he meant.
Yeah, I think magic is just technology we don't understand yet.
Yeah, that's a quote by somebody. It's not a perfect quote, but that's generally what they were saying. Yeah.
It is a quote.
All right.
Yeah, I can expand on that if you like. So the reason I simplified it in that quote is because there's a lot of things that we understand in the universe, right? We have science, and to a degree, we know that 1 + 1 is 2, 2 + 2 is blah blah. So because of that, we have a great understanding, and we can tell how old a tree is if we count the rings in the center of it. But magic, because it's something that's not within our means of actually understanding, it comes across as alien to us. It's religious. It's something that we can't comprehend, right? So the reason I used it, and that was Tony Stark, by the way. Iron Man said that, so that's where I got that from.
There was somebody before him.
Oh well, I didn't know who said it before him, but
Was it Tesla?
Was it Tesla? But so basically, that's what I mean by that. Because we understand science and we don't understand the unknown, we try to rationalize it in our own brains and in the best way that we can. So I say until we can figure that out, until we break that fourth wall of reality, we're gonna continue to see it as such. But as time has shown us, we're able to travel the stars now to a certain extent, and we're gonna get to a point where we understand magic if it's a real thing.
Okay, so you would agree with me the statement that if you're familiar with the idea of the God of the gaps, that as science further explains things, the need for the explanation of supernatural is diminished more and more, and eventually would become no need whatsoever.
I can see that, yeah.
Okay, rocking.
You said
Nobody
the need
else?
for science?
I said the need for magic would be diminished. Okay, I'll give you a for instance. 80 years ago, there was no such thing as ultraviolet light.
Right.
Okay, like that. So we didn't know what infrared was at some point. We didn't know what ultraviolet light was at some point. We could not measure that. So we could not
just see a
explain
rainbow,
why light
like-
made a black rock hot.
I like where
Right.
this is going. Keep going.
All right. So like we see a rainbow and we just think it's magical. We don't understand the prisms and things like that too. So something to that
Yes.
degree, right? Okay.
Yes,
I'm tracking.
Yes. So actually, and it's the loss. It's really the loss of childhood. It's a child who looks at a rainbow and thinks that is just amazing. Now you can still look at it aesthetically as an adult and say, "Oh, that's just gorgeous," and that's fine. And that has a lot to do with biology and what we needed to survive as societies and animals, and aesthetics, things like that. But is it truly magical? Well, no, that goes away once you learn what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Have we not found, though, that the deeper we look into things, we keep finding things like the ultraviolet you're talking about, like dark matter, like whatever?
The observer effect.
I tend to believe that the deeper we look, there's always going to be something mysterious that comes out of it that we then don't understand, that we then call magic.
Well, we can look at that two ways. We can say we can say we're at some kind of a wall, right? And that wall appears a certain way to us. Maybe it looks like naturalistic processes or no explanation, where intelligent interference would be a good explanation for that kind of complexity in, say, for instance, microbiology, right? Like if we start talking about protein machines and how they function and what they do and why they do it and how there'd be no cell without it. We could look at something like that. And we could even look at individual parts of individual protein machines. Ma'am, you had something. Go ahead.
Neo, you're heading out. Do you want to give final thoughts to the panel before you go?
Yeah, I gotta go. I just wanted to say that I had a good time having a talk with everybody. It was nice being back on panel. I don't really get on that much anymore. Yeah, good chatting with all of you.
Fair
and
enough.
Neo, if I could, before you go, it just like the kindergarten teacher has a responsibility to the students, people who have a natural higher intellect have a responsibility to the masses that are lacking that.
I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
So come on panel more often then.
Yeah, if you have the ability and the knowledge and the know-how, and you can
Yes.
educate others, it is kind of your duty in a way. I do have a channel where I do that. I have a podcast where I talk about lessons I wish I knew when I was younger.
I don't see a link.
That's a good way.
I'm getting it right
Sarah's
now.
got me. Yeah. So I actually just I think last night I posted an episode about self-deletion. I think it's an interesting one if anyone wants to check it out. I do try to use whatever little knowledge I have to educate and to just let everybody know that it's okay. We're all going through this journey together. And yeah, but I'll hop on panel more often. I had fun.
All right. We love you, Neo. Take it easy tonight.
Love y'all too. Take care. Deuces.
You earned yourself a subscriber in less than 2 minutes. That's the way I feel about it.
I love Neo. I've known him for a long time now, and he's an excellent panelist.
Well,
but yeah, continue.
He hedges what he says, which shows that he's spent some time in reflecting on the things that he's saying, and he's learned to meter himself in such a way that you can tell that he's not braggadocious. He's not trying to seem impressive, and that makes him look impressive, at least to me.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, so CJ, what's the eventual? Since you were carrying the conversation, what's the eventuality? Okay, so we go to the next lower level, and we find interesting complexity, and then we look at the next lower level, and we see more complexity, and just where does that stop? The James Webb Space Telescope took a 2-week-long exposure of the darkest spot in space. You'll never guess what we saw there.
What?
The
light?
Stones or
More
something?
galaxies. It's full of them.
Yeah.
More what?
More
the joke is that it is figure outable. Like, I don't think it's.
Hold on. I didn't hear what he said. More what?
More galaxies.
Oh, more galaxies. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's. I think that there are just mysteries to this world that we're not ever going to understand. And even when you understand one, there's going to be another mystery that comes up. I kind of am under the impression that's how this place works. That it's kind of foolish to pretend we're going to have a theory for everything one day.
Is that a flaw or a feature?
I guess I look at it like a flaw.
Okay, well, I'd like to help you with that.
So that goes back to your
the system
ignorance.
or in my own.
Well, hold on. That goes back to like your ignorance is bliss, right? You were explaining the kindergartner who's being taught by the teacher. It's like if you worked at Disney World, like going to Disney World on your day off isn't quite as magical as it once was, right? So you take the magic out of it. So if we end up knowing everything, what's the fun of getting to explore if we already know? And then you're like taking the magic out of space or aliens or ghosts or the concept of why light bends and things like that. And, you take the fun out of not knowing by knowing. Like once you know, you just know. There's no more explorative feature to it. So I asked the question then back, is it a flaw or a feature? Do we really want to know everything, or are we going to benefit from it?
I want to walk back my previous statement because I believe I look at it like it's a feature that I'm comfortable not knowing. But if you are of the mindset that we have to figure this out to save humanity, then it would be looked at as a flaw.
That's relatively fair, right?
Based.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what I think. Men retire, 15 years, they're dead. I want to never retire. I want there to be no end of knowledge. I want to always be able to learn. I want to always be able to. I don't care if I've mastered 30 things. I don't care if I am a stone cutter of the quality of Michelangelo. I want to keep going. What's the next thing? Okay, well, I'm done with stone. I'm done with sculpting. All right, piano. Well, I'm done with piano. What now? Painting. I would never want to stop.
And I think that's a gift.
So I don't want there to be
kids.
I don't want there to be an end to learning.
Yeah, I think learning is very important. But I think also, to some degree, should we know everything?
Should?
Like, could we? Well, even could we? Can we even handle knowing everything, right? Like, to the galaxy and beyond. Just for instance, if we actually knew aliens existed and if we saw them, would we be able to handle it, as a whole? Could we handle knowing that there is something different out there? Or how would we react to it? Would it just, provoke fear or this or that? But I don't know. I mean, I love learning as well, and I don't think anybody should stop, but I think there are some things maybe shouldn't be left up to everybody to know.
I think that we can handle it. I think humans can handle new knowledge pretty well as long as they're not emotionally detached to the opposite or to an alternative being true. It's easier to fool somebody than to convince them they've been fooled.
Yeah, good observation.
Yeah.
It wasn't mine. I co-opted it from someone, but
it's okay. I know.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
So this is one of my greatest objections to the traditions of doctrinal ancient religions carried forward into today. The denial of science in order to maintain the traditional ideas, which I think is not necessary. In fact, I think it's not only counterproductive, it's counter-religious, at least in the evident authorial intent in scripting the religions, whether they be handed down by art, by costume and dance, by spoken word in an oral tradition.